top class day. All right, for now, I want to change focus ever so slightly. We got a voice note from a listener who works in sales. That came through last week. And the gist of what the person was talking about was businesses that are now setting unrealistic sales targets to try and claw back lost business. And the person is saying, in some cases, these targets perhaps even higher than they were prior to lockdown. And there's almost very little regard for job security. So it's almost like a machine. They recruit people. You don't hit your target, boom, you're out. Next bunch of people come on in. As businesses are either trying to get back the business they lost or just trying to keep it above water. And the guy was saying it comes at the expense of people and of livelihoods. He says if it doesn't make his sales target, he's on the verge of being fired. Is that pretty much where things are at the moment? We thought we'd reach out this morning. Thought leader, academic, business owner, company director, very good friend of Heart FM, Dr. Rechard Noor, joining us not only live on the radio, but also live on our various social media platforms. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. Dr. Noor, very good morning. Thanks so much for your time.
Good morning, Aidan, and good morning to all the listeners. Thanks for having me on your show.
Absolute pleasure. I see you there in your office. You clearly are ready for the business day. But are you as captains of industry, as business owners, as entrepreneurs who rely on a sales force, are you perhaps as a collective placing undue pressure? You know, business can't be done if there's no business to be done. That's kind of what people in the sales industry are saying at the moment.
So back in March 2020, when the president announced the second lockdown, the first lockdown, I was mentally prepared for it. The second one, I wasn't. And at that time, both my wife and my son said to me, we've never seen such fear in your eyes. The fear of what's going to happen to the business, the fear of what's going to happen to the 80 people that we have employed in our organization. How do we sustain ourselves during the pandemic? Because back then we didn't know what was going to happen. When we got back, our national sales director called a meeting and put significant pressure on themselves as a sales team to go out and find business. And I was the one who said, guys, I think you're being unrealistic. We're in a pandemic. We've just come out of what was 5 weeks of lockdown. The economy is going to take a long time to recover from this. So we need to readjust our expectations as business leaders in terms of the way forward. And that's when we took a step back and we said, well, I think for the past 5 years, our philosophy has been, if we can break even, and if we can hold our heads above water, and if we can look after our employees and pay their salaries, pay our debts, we are actually doing well. We don't need to make profit. And I think the focus has to be on sustainability. We are going to spend the next 20 to 30 years recovering from what we've just been through and still going through. We must not underestimate the impact of the pandemic. Having said that, there are a lot of bright economic indicators that are shining through. And in our business, because of our agility, because of our flexibility, and because of my unbelievable belief in our people and their creativity, we have managed to actually turn the corner. All of our economic indicators in our business is showing positive signs. We're showing growth. We're showing increased profitability. But it's been through an investment in people. And I said this to my partner the other day. We have got 6 engineers. I only need 1. 5 of them are in training for the future. Because if we don't build a solid base now, we're going to destroy the business into the future. So we can save ourselves a couple of 100,000 Rand a year by not training and developing, and pay for that in the future. Our success of training and development over the past 20 years has carried us through these difficult times because our staff have recognized the need for them to increase their productivity, to cut the waste, the fat in the business. And we've done that in the past year. We've cut fat out of our business. We've become lean, we've become mean. And our economic indicators at the micro level is very encouraging, and it's a credit to our staff. It's a credit to our employees. It's a credit to our shareholders who allow me the flexibility to run a business which is very, very different to a conventional business where it's bottom line driven, where it's profit driven. Ours is very much human centric, where the well-being of our people is at the center of what we do, and remembering that we need to sustain the business over time. We've been around for 21 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Richard. I mean, you and I have spoken at length about the concept of transforming the business landscape in this country and sustainability. In fact, I mean, you published a book some months ago about that very thing: radical transformation and sustainability. You're preaching at a level that businesses in this country have yet to get to. You are the embodiment of what you have as a philosophy, and maybe you've got the flexibility with the right shareholders and the right corporate mindset to be able to do that. What about people who are career salespeople? You know, they're masters at the art of selling, but where market conditions aren't fit and aren't proper at the moment for them to be successful. The pressure that they're feeling is real, and the prospect of being fired and of not being able to find another job, those are day-to-day realities. What's the message to them right now, though?
Again, the employee is always on the back foot. That's the sad reality. And that's because these business leaders who are setting these unrealistic expectations are living in cuckoo land. All right. They're working with models that are outdated. They were outdated 20 years ago. And the COVID pandemic has speeded up the speed at which we need to modify our expectations. We cannot continue to drive a business where the expectation is profitability at the expense of people. For those that's on the other side of the fence, the employee, the sales guy, there are ways of becoming creative. And I must say that our team, you're not allowed to visit customers anymore. That's the sad reality. You actually get letters now to say that we would prefer that you do not visit. A telephone call and a Zoom meeting would suffice.
Yeah.
Right? So we've moved into the fourth industrial revolution. We need to use this technology. Social media is there for advertising. And in a very, very dark space, we have managed to grow our business. And not slightly, it has grown significantly. But I've given our team freedom of expression, freedom of creativity. You make mistakes along the way, we fix the mistakes. So managing by fear causes a lack of creativity. All right. So when you threaten somebody, if you do not meet your target, you are going to lose your job. That is so 1900s. Okay. Now you need to say, how can we assist you to create opportunities within the market? And there are opportunities. It might not be staring you in the eye, but there are a couple of blind spots that we generally as employees miss. Right. We must remember that businesses need to survive, and they need capital to survive. But they need to allow that salesman who's under pressure, creativity, and make sure that he has the necessary tools for him to be effective in his job. And I think many times as business leaders, we don't give our people the necessary training, the necessary equipment, the cell phone, the laptop now, or the computer now, because the data becomes a very expensive commodity in a salesman's life. He needs to be accessible 24 hours a day if he's going to be hitting his targets. So the question is, do our employees have the necessary resources for them to be effective? We have to be resilient as employees. There are going to be expectations on business. So there's a coming together of minds on both the employee side and also on the employer side, where there is collaboration to address the very challenging time that we're in.
All right, I'm going to park it there for this morning. Always appreciate his time and picking his brain. Dr. Rechard Noor, the author of a recently published book called Radical Transformation and Sustainability, a very good friend of Heart FM, certainly providing us with food for thought there this morning. Just a couple of the comments coming through on our social media posts. Somebody saying, I worked for the biggest insurance company in South Africa. We're being forced to hand in the same amount of business as was the case before lockdown. I'm not coping, to say the least. based. It's not just insurance. I mean, this is the feedback we're getting from people across the business spectrum in the country. Businesses are trying to drive profits in order to stay afloat, and it just isn't the business to be signing up at the moment to make all of that happen. It requires a bit of a rethink, and that's what Dr. Rechard Noor is arguing with us here this morning on our breakfast.